viewers, you're welcome to Bridges today again on OAUTHC television. My name is Deji Adefila. Like you know, on the program, of course, we try to look at ways at which we can bridge the gap in the society, in the country, in the states, and at large. In so many areas at which we do this, we also try to get people also from paramilitary agencies most of the time when they try to make incursions into where things are probably not working most of the time. But today on the program, we are going to be talking something that really has to do with you and I, our health, as a matter of fact. So we're looking at something which every one of us, almost every one of us, will take it at every time. Of course, it's not something bad to take it, but oftentimes we really don't know how to do all of these things, and we eventually abuse them. I'm not talking about drug abuse per se today, but we're actually been trying to be specific on antibiotics. The awareness was done it's done in November every year, and this Nigeria is also part of the countries that are very much doing this because of the level of awareness that people have about antibiotic use in this country. So just recently we had the World Antibiotics Awareness, and this was carried out in the states of Osun as well, in so many areas. So the coordinator of that particular team is very much here with me in the studios today. He's also part of the Antimicrobial Stewardship Group, OAUTHC, right here in Osun. I have with me today Professor Oladipo Aboderin. How are you?
Good afternoon.
It's good to have you.
Nice meeting you.
Okay, well, let's quickly look at some of these things going on about the awareness of antibiotics. Going by the global practice, and the things that people are doing recently. Now, let's start from this area. When exactly did you come up with the awareness that people are not using antibiotics very well? When exactly did this start, this movement, to let people know?
Well, thank you very much. We know that antibiotics, everybody in the society uses antibiotics. And it has come to a point that now we are realizing more and more that antibiotics don't work for what is expected to work for. And we are now realizing the fact that we are coming to a situation that we will get to what it used to be before antibiotics was just discovered. That was like 70 years ago, where it was first used in clinical practice during the Second World War. That's for like around 1940. And currently it looks like we are going full cycle now to the situation that infections, we are beginning to see untreatable infections. Now we are beginning to see situations where somebody needs to have surgery, but because if you do the surgery and there's infection, you will not be able to treat the infection. We are coming to a situation now that if a woman needs to deliver a baby and you know that you need antibiotics, you have to rethink about what you do because you don't know. Or even common infections like cuts, like injuries that sometimes get infected, and you just take antibiotics and everything goes up. But the situation now is that this is not going to begin to happen unless we begin to do something different from the way we have been doing it. Everybody believes once you just take antibiotics you are fine. But now we are seeing that the bugs, the bacteria are coming to a situation now that they just are not going to be killed by those agents again. So we need to have strategy. And it's not a local problem alone. It's not a Osun State problem. It's not a Nigeria. It's a global problem. In fact, there's now a lot of global attention to address this challenge. Just this week, leaders all over the world met in Accra, Ghana, to discuss this issue of antimicrobial resistance. Wow. So, Chief Medical Officer of UK, Professor Sally David, and all the big names came together. What are we going to do?
So it's a global thing.
Yes,
right now.
It's a global, and everybody from regional governments, national governments, local governments, everybody needs to take response, and everybody, including the man on the street, we all have part to play to ensure that antibiotics are still available in a sustainable manner for future generations. That we don't get to the point before antibiotics came that everybody dies when they have simple infections. And part of the response and strategies is that we should be aware that if we don't take actions, we will lose antibiotics. so we need to create awareness in the society, awareness in the healthcare institutions. Everywhere needs to know that antibiotics are public goods, and we must know how to conserve this public good for everybody who will need them.
Okay, you mentioned something that before this was actually introduced about 70 years ago, that we are planning to go back to the way we were. Is it possible for our body formation to go back to the way we used to be after all we have taken? You know, considering the fact that oftentimes when drugs are made, they were actually taken up from what they have seen, maybe from that particular disease or whatever, and the cure will be made from it as well. You know, how is that possible?
Now, before antibiotics came, infections used to be a major killer, and people have common infection. Everybody was dying. In fact, it's almost universal that people die. Antibiotics came, and the excitement was so much that, in fact, it was said that a U.S. Surgeon General said, "Now we have come to the end. It's time to close books on infectious diseases because of antibiotics." Because it was thought then that now there won't be problems with infections again. And it was true. Once you give penicillin, once you give penicillin, streptomycin, and all those old antibiotics, then everything is fine. But things have changed. These days you treat somebody and it's like you are just giving chalk or just something that has no effect. Now what we are saying is that if this situation continues, even those antibiotics, since they are no longer effective, it will be as if we don't have antibiotics again, because they are no longer effective, they are no longer killing the organisms. People are now dying from untreatable infections. And there are stories all over the world now that people get infected and there is no treatment. With all the without any constraint of resources in countries like the United States of America, they have on record now that annually they see 23,000 untreatable infections.
In the
US.
23,000.
23,000 annually that cannot be treated with antibiotics that are currently available.
And people die in the process.
And they die they call it untreatable infections. The same thing in Europe now, they have 33,000 infections. We don't have really valid estimates in a country like ours. But it's part of the national efforts now that we must begin to have records. What is the true body of drug-resistant infections and how do we intervene? So we go back because except we do something. And that's why now every effort is being made to ensure that we take responsible use of antimicrobial agents to ensure that they are available for people that will need.
Shouldn't we be worried, you know, if countries like USA, the UK are having issues? I mean, look at the data you just gave me: 23,000 in the US, 33,000 in the UK. I mean, when you look at it, just like they say on the issue of divorce in the world, they said 1 out of every 3 marriages in the UK, you know, it ends in divorce. They said 2 out of 3 in the US. In Nigeria, there is no statistics. This same way, we do not have statistics. So if that kind of thing is happening in those places, what chances do we have here? Considering the fact that you also consult for the Nigerian Disease Center for Disease, of course, that's NSCDC. You also, you know, consult for them. What exactly are they doing? You know, in probably number one, first of all, give us data of the kind of problems that we may be facing. I intentionally call it problem, not challenges now, because it's the problem. If thousands of people die as a result of untreatable diseases, infections, you know, in that regard.
Well, to start with, let me say this problem is not just far away in the US, far away here we see. At OAUTHC now, we see some of these infections now. And they come, and once you see them, you just say, this is another issue. Because we know, but there are some particular bacteria, bugs, that once a patient is infected with them like this, you just know that you have problem on your hands. And our experience this year has been such that such bugs would almost invariably lead to death. Because
are they new bugs?
These bugs have been there. The issue is that they are dynamic. They keep on changing and adapting because they know that they're antibiotics. So they also adapt genetically in such a way that when they are not exposed to real antibiotics, they become resistant.
What happens to our, the normal human immunity?
Good question. Now we need to understand that when we are talking about resistance, it is the bacteria that becomes resistant.
Yes.
It is not the human.
Not the human.
The human cells is still the same person. A human being will not necessarily change. It is the organisms that is causing infection in that person that would change and become resistant and no longer be susceptible to these chemicals, the antibiotics that are used to kill them. So we now begin to see some of this difficult to treat or impossible to treat infection. It's hard to take in, but that's the reality that we now see. So that's at the local level. But be that as it may, we now know that this is a reality. It's a global, and mind you, antibiotics, drug-resistant pathogens, they don't know any border. As you speak here now, if in the next 6 hours somebody here will be in UK, just a flight and you get there.
Yeah.
And these organisms are on the skin, they're everywhere. And so if you are one of them here and in 6 hours you get to UK, you carry the organisms there. And it can cause infections over there. So leaders all over now recognize that we must take a collective response to address it. It's not a question that US will say we address it, and then once we address it, we are fine. If you address it in US, if I travel from Nigeria to US and I carry something, then you have not solved the problem. So
it's a global response.
So there has to be a global response, and that's why in 2015 the WHO came up what is called the Global Action Plan to address the problem of antimicrobial. And they expect each country to also have a national action plan on what to do for antimicrobial resistance.
We have.
Yes, so 2017, last year, in a record time for that matter, because don't forget, remember I said 2015, WHO said, okay, countries, this is the global action plan, you can use this as a template to develop national action plan.
Of course.
We did not do anything in Nigeria, and they gave them 2 years to do it, from 2015 to 2017. But in late 2016, the chief executive officer of Nigeria Center for Disease Control, just began to ask some of us to come together, and then with approval from the Honorable Minister of Health, a technical working group was constituted. Between January 2017 and April 4 months, a lot of hard work, we developed the National Action Plan. It took some other countries years and years to do. We did it 4 years.
4 months.
4 months, thank you very much. WHO was so excited, everybody was writing. So Nigeria has an action plan, Nigeria Action Plan. So we have a national action plan. And in that action plan, there are 5 core strategies to follow in addressing the problem. Number 1 is we need to create awareness. People need to know that drug-resistant infections occur as reality.
Is real.
Is real. It's not. Don't just think once I take antibiotics I'll be fine. It is not like that. People need to know so that everybody will then know what to do appropriately. That's number 1. Number 2, it borders on what I said when I say US has 23,000 infections. We need to be able to start surveillance. That is to know what type of drug-resistant infections do we have, what are the bugs that are resistant, how many are they?
Data
on that. So that's the search that Nigeria needs to begin to have data on this. What's the pattern of difficult to treat bugs and all that. So that's surveillance and how to do it. And interestingly, we started this year, though at a small level, but we hope to expand. 3 of the federal institutions gave data which was collated and which was also submitted to WHO for the first time this year. So which we can say is Nigerian data on the type of bugs, but it's not going to be 3 institutions. We want to capture as many institutions as possible. So that's number 2. Number 3, another strategy is if somebody is not infected at all with the bacterium, you don't talk of whether it's impossible to treat or difficult to treat. That is, prevent infection in the first instance.
At all costs.
If you anything you can do, hygiene,
the hand washing,
and the hand washing campaign. Everybody will wash your hands. Not necessarily when it's visibly dirty, but regularly before you eat.
You have done anything with your hands.
Yes. So in this case, whether within the healthcare facilities or within the community, hand hygiene is so essential, it's so key. And we know that that's the single most important way of preventing transmission of infections. So that's number 3. Everything that you do to prevent infection, either in terms of vaccination, that you immunize children so that they don't even come down with infection. So that's the strategy number 3. Strategy number 4 in that document is that what we call antimicrobial stewardship. In which case, everybody should be a steward of antibiotics. That is, find a responsible way of handling this public good. Don't have it so that you go to the market, you see somebody say I have a headache, and before you know it, say give me they call it a capo. They will put paracetamol, Panadol,
all of those things,
and then they just swallow everything. What are you treating? You're only exposing those bacteria to these antibiotics when you don't need it, and then the bacteria now come back resistant to them. So we are saying that people should be stewards and guardians of antibiotics. Within the healthcare facilities in the community, we should now begin to ask questions. Antibiotics is not the answer to every complaint or illness that people have. And people should stop demanding antibiotics for everything. There are people, when they go to clinics, unless a doctor gives antibiotics, they don't believe that's a good doctor.
Okay, but Prof, let's quickly look at this. In Nigeria, we are used to a particular practice that we don't get to see in other places. For people who have traveled out, traveled wide, there is no way you can get some countries that you say you have a headache. You just walk up to a pharmacy and they sell you drugs. But these are the things that still goes over the table in Nigeria. If I'm just trying to think, would it be possible for us to actually have a well-educated information to people if this kind of thing can still happen? I just walk up to a chemist, I say I have malaria. I think I have malaria. That's the way people feel.
Once you have your money, you can buy anything you want.
Can we be able to actually pass our educational information to people if this kind of thing is happening in Nigeria?
I know it's challenging, but it's a way to go. It's doable, and that's part of our, like, in the awareness campaign this year is so much right there at FCT Federal Capital. In fact, all over She States and all. In fact, I was at the meeting in Ghana that I talked about. And someone said that he could see that we were so active because social media, everybody sees what
we saw pictures of you on Twitter everywhere.
So we will keep on doing this one to let people know that when it is not every headache that you must ask for ampiclox, and people should stop. And so these common people on the street should not be there. And then if also as a physician somebody comes, unless you give me antibiotics, you should also be able to resist the pressure and say no. There are no reasons why you should take antibiotics now, because the complaints you have is not the one that needs to be treated. So we need to, but that won't be, it's not only to educate, we'll continue to do that, but we also must improve our regulation and enforcement of our rules. In the last few years, India came up with a rule that and put 24 antibiotics and say unless you have a prescription, nobody will sell those antibiotics for you. It took a lot of consensus, a lot of building, but they got to that point because India is home of, you have so many pharmaceutical companies, and many of these difficult to treat bugs. In fact, there's a particular one that was first discovered here, which has now spread all over the world now. Wow. But the Indian government is taking steps to address them. That's part of what they say. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 24 different antibiotics. You cannot have them unless there's a prescription for it. We may go that direction, but we must find a way of to take.
I think we really need to go that direction, because I also read some things about that Indian stuff. We are, it's like we are always following them. in Nigeria, when you hear that things like this are happening in India, you see Nigerians there, doing so many things in that regard as well. But before we go on the program, we saw the awareness that you created. Some of your guys went to the marketplaces, on the road, letting people know all of these things, And just like I told you the last time we met, that this is not something that we do and just sit back and wait for next year campaign again. What are the ways you're going by it, so that people can actually have this information? There is one particular illustration I always like to give in Nigeria. Some years past in Nigeria, people don't care about using their seatbelts when they drive. But today, it has become a practice to us. One way or the other, that message sank, and everybody got to respect it. What are you doing about this, so that all of us can actually be carried along as well with what you're also doing with the Nigeria Center for Disease Control as well?
Thank you very much. To start with, this another opportunity of keeping to continuous sensitization. In the teaching hospital, for instance, now we are trying to make the antibiotic stewardship group an active, functional one, because
make it strong.
Yes, because you have to address the issue of antibiotics at different levels, and at all levels. Few days ago, it was so exciting to see that even last week, Anambra State government, for instance, the Commissioner for Health in Anambra State went on air talking to the public about responsible use of antibiotics. I said, wow, that this state government is trying to see the show. Because I was thinking Osun State should also
we are doing it. We're surely going to do things like that.
So and already I've been talking to some people in Osun State. We must go forward and take the lead. So apart from whatever we are doing at the teaching hospital, we must do as the state we must do, and have a defined response to the threat of resistance from antibiotics. So we keep on doing that one. I met somebody in Ghana, for instance, and he was so excited because we brought some secondary schools, like 7 secondary schools were together with us last week on awareness, testing the antibiotics. And I was saying, oh, maybe we need to create clubs in secondary schools that take these things further. Sure. And this is another idea of something we're already thinking of.
Yeah, when children get aware of such things, they even teach their parents at home. Exactly. That's where it spreads.
So these are some of the things that we want to carry further and see how the word is spreading. And everybody knows now, I want to be a guardian, like an antibiotic guardian. Yeah, guardian.
Well, our viewers, I've been speaking with Professor Oladipo Aboderin. He's the coordinator for the World Antibiotics Awareness from OAUTHC. This was done just a few weeks ago, talking about the awareness on the use of antibiotics. And there is need for us to actually have a good education about this kind of thing. Just like Prof mentioned, it is not every headache that you have to go there and be looking for ampiclos, and I'll be asking for some kind of antibiotics, from your pharmacist or your doctor, whichever case may be. But what is most important is for us to have a good education about this particular thing. Talk to your doctor, let them advise you the right way to go, and so that we can begin to have for ourselves a very good country and a saner environment, taking care of antibiotics resistance. Thank you so much, Prof, for coming on the program today.
Thank you.
And my sincere, of course, gratitude to all the other doctors that came over with you into the studios today. That's going to be the show for you today. See you again next week. My name is Deji Adefila. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.